She even catches fire at one point and had to like put it out.
And we finally found her, and like we got like 5 minutes.
Yeah, 136. How did I read more than one page?
I get it, but I didn't like it, okay?
One. Welcome to the Besties in the Books podcast. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Liz, and today is officially our third deep dive in our Wicked series, where we're going to be talking about book 3 in the Wicked years,
Yes.
A Lion Among Men.
Ooh.
Here we are. Ooh, I'm excited to talk about this one because I feel like it was a little bit different from the last two. So,
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a little bit. You know, if you guys know, we kicked it off with our Books Political episode. Mm-hmm. Then we went into obviously covering deep dive for Wicked, and then book 2, Son of a Witch. Here we are with book 3. Just going to keep things rolling. Next week, we've got Out of Oz.
Yeah.
And then we're covering the prequel, Elfie, which I have no idea about that at literally whatsoever.
Yeah.
Going into it completely blind.
It's prequel. I feel like we're going to be going back to the beginning, if you will.
Well, yeah.
Maybe
But I'm
something
like,
about
what?
Elfie, little Elphaba, little tiny tot, little cutie greenie. You know, maybe.
Hopefully it's not too sad. Hopefully it's not sad.
I know.
And then we'll be wrapping it up with, you know, our overall thoughts like we always do with all the movies and, you know, the Broadway play that we were able to see, etc. Obviously, we're really excited that Wicked for Good is going to be coming out.
Yeah. Are you guys excited? Let us know. Ooh. Something I want to say. Hey, what's up? If you found this video because you finished A Lion Among Men and is like, what the hell? I find that to be a big critique of, well, most of these books. Well, not really Wicked. Wicked, I feel like people kind of, you get it. But like Son of a Witch, I felt like there was a lot of confusion and kerfuffle when I was looking up people's like reviews of things. And then Lion Among Men, and there wasn't very much talk about it. You know, a lot of people DNF this book. So we'll be talking about all that in the critiques too. But hopefully by us going through this with our 5-sentence summary, our faves and dislikes, our like, you know, different things that we'll be talking about today, it helps give you some clarity with this book. So, yeah. I mean, we'll be, like Ashley said, going over, you know, basic plot points, etc. What we liked, favorite parts, least favorite parts, characters, etc. But we will, you know, like we have in the last couple episodes, talk about, you know, political problems that are brought up, and then also philosophical questions, which I think this one was full of philosophical questions more so. So if that's something that sounds good to you, please stick around. But before we get into that, we just wanted to say thank you so much for being here. Yeah, thank you so much for coming into this video, taking time out of your day and your book to hang out with us, video or audio, because we are on YouTube for the video or any podcasting platforms you like to listen on into. If you are new here, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. That way you don't miss out on future episodes. And welcome. What's up? Did you find this video because you are getting hyped about Wicked and you're like, what is this book even about? Have you read it? Have you not? We're going to tell you all of that, but don't worry, the first 5 minutes, I don't know if we've said it yet, are spoiler free. So we'll give you our review, tell you if we think, you know, it's worth the read, what we recommend so far, all of that, and then stick around for that spoiler portion. So make sure you're following. We're also over on TikTok and Instagram at Besties in the Books podcast everywhere. That way you get notified when we announce new series that are coming out, because we're mapping out next year, baby. If you have any recommendations on what other series you want us to go over, make sure to DM it to us. We're open to suggestions. We are. I know. You guys will be excited, I think, about what we chose for the beginning of the year. Yeah. But we're still open for a middle and end. So, hey. Yeah. Send us some good stuff. Gosh. Sorry. I have to show you guys my t-shirt. I haven't shown Liz yet because it's so funny. In the front, okay, we always like to wear, you know, some kind of themed shirts, right? So in the front is just, you know, Galinda's wand and Elphaba's broom. But in the back, let me show you. I'll have to pop in a video so you can see it. But it is, you know, she was in a bubble. The words from that viral video years ago.
Hold on! Her sister was a witch, right? And what was her sister? A princess.
So cool. That's so cute.
It's so funny. I was cracking up when I saw it.
I love it.
And now we have some quick clarity, right? So his argument is that she's a princess, right? She came down in a bubble with the crown. He's actually wrong. right?
Yeah.
She's not a princess. Glinda is not a princess. So I just think
She
it's
is a
even more
sorceress.
funny now how impassioned that man was. And he was wrong. And he was wrong this whole time.
Well, she's many things. I mean,
according
hey.
to this, right? According to the expanded edition of everything.
I mean, technically, Glinda, no. Has she been a princess? No, but she was temporarily on the throne. So she wasn't really a queen, but maybe like, I don't know, what would you call that? Like a queen substitute? Queen regent? Not really, but like kind of.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's a placeholder. The word princess could be.
Yeah.
Because
So she's been that. She's been a sorceress. She's been a lot of things. That Glinda.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Also, since we're on the topic of cute Wicked clothes, I just wore actually a cute Sanderson Sisters witch shirt that Ashley got me a couple years ago. But it's because I really want to find like some vegan themed Wicked clothes, and I could not find anything. And I was weird. This is crazy. So if you guys know of anyone who makes any cute, like vegan related, like animal rights t-shirts, like Wicked themed, send them our way because I want one. If you make shirts, hey, could you make me one? That would be amazing too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
for sure.
Okay. So anyway, should we get into our spoiler-free star ratings for
It is time.
A Lion Among Men, book
Yes.
3 in the Wicked Years?
Let's do it. You go first this time.
Okay. I rated it 4 stars. Mm-hmm. So far, Wicked and Son of a Witch were 5 stars for me. So this one got taken down 1 entire star for a specific plot twist at the end that I didn't like. So I don't want to give anything away aside from that, but it knocked it down a whole star for me. And I would say I still really appreciated this book because it did have 2 like timelines going on at once again that I really liked. A lot of it's told through flashbacks, which I really liked. I felt like this book also filled in a lot of the blanks from the last couple books, which was cool. So we did get some full circle moments. However, I did find it a little bit repetitive. Like there was some information that we were getting from different perspectives that I feel like we perhaps did not need more of. And it just kind of was like, all right, why is this in here? But mostly I enjoyed it. And I felt like as far as length goes, I feel like any longer and it would have made me upset about the repetition. So I feel like it was also a fairly good length. It's like under 400 pages, I think, right?
It's like 288 or something, maybe 300 something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, I think the paperback's like 350 or something like that. So yeah, I felt like it was a good length. So yeah, 4 stars. Didn't love as much as the other 2, but still enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spice rating?
I rated it a 0.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little bit of animal sex in it, but nothing explicit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Closed door. Animal sex. Okay, so what did you rate it?
4 stars also. So now I'm at 5 stars for Wicked, 4 stars Son of a Witch, 4 stars Lion Among Men. However, I did like this better than Son of a Witch.
Oh, interesting.
Because I actually liked the characters more for the first time since reading this series. I actually liked some of these characters better. So for that reason, I enjoyed it more. It was, while similar writing style, obviously, for me, it was just, I don't know, a little bit simpler, and it did get mundane in the middle, but so do with that what you will. But I think if you're looking for some fill in the blank moments, this is that book. This is definitely a plot filler kind of a book. It's not like a filler book, but it just fills in some of the holes that were leaking in the other books, is the best way I could put it. So that's who I would recommend it for if you want to continue the series or not, if you're trying to figure that out. If there's some questions you feel like you have unanswered, you want some more clarity on, go ahead and give this book. I definitely don't think you can skip it if you're going to continue Out of Oz, but obviously we haven't read that yet, but I think you're getting some information in there. But there are some unnecessary parts in there, it feels, that are a bit repetitive, like you said. So that's why it's not a 5 stars. It's not perfect, but I actually really enjoyed it. So
yeah.
Hey.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the repetition or repetitiveness, I guess what I mean is like I love it when we're getting a story that we've already read but from a different perspective, and I feel like some of the information was literally just like same recounting of the same information. I was like, I wanted a different take on it. You know what I mean?
I don't
if I'm
need
going to read
that.
it twice.
Yeah.
But other than that, pretty good. Except for that stupid thing at the end we'll talk about later.
So far, I feel like these books are not meant to be read crunch time, like Liz and I are doing it, back to back to back to back. I feel like this is a series that is not bingeable if you don't need to. So
yeah, like maybe like a couple months in between, so you don't like forget everything, but so that it's not like an overload of like all this information. Yeah.
If I was not doing this for the podcast, now I am glad we are continuing because I didn't love it, just love Son of the Witch, but I liked this one better. But like, if I would make a suggestion, I would say, yeah, exactly that. Put a couple months in between because there's so many philosophical and political ponderings, if you will, that you kind of need time to sit and marinate it just on your own. We have to like cram that in to get the information out to you guys and everything. But I think, he had years in between these books. Like a lot of years in between them. And I think that is almost better because it's not so painful that you're like, oh, what happens? I need to know right now. Because you're just getting like build out and build out and build out of an original, obviously, Wizard of Oz story. So
yeah. Well,
like what happens, but you don't, it's like all the little details.
Well, now I'm curious because I know Wicked came out and then 10 years later these started coming out. So like Son of a Witch came out in 2005.
And when A Lion Among Men came out, he had said that was the end of the trilogy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, which we'll talk about in the critique section as well. Oh, I don't want to give anything away yet.
So that came out in 2008. So it looks like there was 3 years in between. Yeah. And then when did Out of Oz come out? Because, you'd have 3 years to digest that information. And then Out of Oz came out in 2011. Yeah. So there's a significant amount of time in between all of these.
And then
books.
Elfie.
17 years later 17? Or whatever. A while.
Yeah.
Because... 11. Yeah. So there's just definitely a lot of time to process like all this information like in between, and we're just going like one after the other. So it's definitely a different experience for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
although
I know the book times are different now, but even still, I'd say the same thing if these came out right now,
I do appreciate his like recaps at the beginning of all the books though. I was like, that's cool. Can all authors do that, please?
Yeah. It was especially necessary in this one. I told Liz, like the beginning of the paperback, I'm sure the Kindle too. I don't know. I didn't do it, but like it's all like literally mapped out all the different families of Oz. So that was a good refresher because there's just like a lot of names and lands involved at this point that it's like a lot.
Yeah, there's like family lineage, like it's very like, Game of Thrones level, like world building guide so that you aren't confused. Yes, that is, I appreciated that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so should we just get into our 5-sentence summary spoiler section?
Let's go. Go on and get. If you don't want to be spoiled, we're going to spoil the spoilings right now. So save it to your playlist and watch later if you're thinking about reading this or if you're in the midst. If you don't mind being spoiled, stick around because, hey, we don't go over all the meat in these bones.
We don't.
We don't.
What did you say the other day? Different bones, same body, or same body, different bones. It works either way. Yep.
Hey,
not sure
a lot
what
of bones
means,
and bodies.
But
Listen,
great.
it's Halloween. It's Halloween. So we're being weird.
Yep. Here we
go, guys. All right, 5-sentence summary. Listen, I couldn't find the harmonica because it is my daughter's and she was playing with it and misplaced it. So I have a stand-in for at least this week. So.
Oh my God. Excited.
Great.
Okay, here we go.
Great.
All right, 5-sentence summary for A Lion Among Men. After growing up in the forest completely alone as a baby cub with no family, the lion that Elphaba saved from experimentation grows up and uses the knowledge that he's been able to gain of language and etiquette from passersby, like Jemsy, the soldier caught in a trap who he didn't help escape due to his ignorance and loneliness. He ends up traveling all over Oz to try to find his place in society.
One. It doesn't. It's a pretend. It doesn't. I know. I'm sorry.
I was expecting a different note to come out, and I was like, oh, it's just one.
It's like
It's just like a
literally-
foghorn.
For those not watching, the listeners out there, sorry for your ears, first of all. But second of all, it's like, what the hell is this? It's a plastic children's little
Like fake
horn.
trumpet.
Trumpet? Maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
But it only
yeah.
makes one note. I literally couldn't find any other musical instrument that we haven't used before. So apologies for the
we do what we
harmonica
can do.
lovers out there that
Yeah.
were, maybe hopefully next week it makes a resurgence. For people that just stumble upon this video, none of our others are like, what? Why are we talking about musical instruments at all? Listen, we have to honor the sentence. Okay?
Yeah.
If you know,
It
you
is
know.
what it is.
All right.
Okay.
Let's go.
The lion goes on his first journey to find Jemsy's parents to give them his Medal of Honor after his death, but accidentally comes upon a town under siege because Oz and Munchkinland are in a civil war, where he inadvertently aids in the capture of trolls that are being exploited for their labor and resources. But because of his reputation as a sympathizer to the wizard, he moves to Shiz and becomes a fairly successful art dealer by luck, chance, and the elite class's perception of him.
2.
I keep waiting for that to go somewhere.
Yeah, sorry. I usually play it hard, but alas.
Okay. The lion ignores all of the anti-animal laws enacted around him until he no longer can and is systematically shoved out of human society. He begins his travels again, staying first with some tigers for many years who shun him after he tries to mate with their princess. Then he meets Dorothy and her companions and aids in the quote-unquote killing of the Wicked Witch, finally landing back in the Emerald City where he works with animals and banks to return their money and investments from before their rights were stripped away for a large fee for both himself and the banks.
3. You're doing great.
Yeah. This one was a little bit easier than the last one, so great.
Yeah.
The Oz government realizes what he's doing, but rather than blame the banks, they scapegoat the lion, who ends up with a plea deal, rather than prison time, to work as a government informant to go track down Yackle to see if she can lead them to the Grimmery, or at a minimum, give the government any additional information about the Throp sisters, or perhaps any challengers to royalty, like Nor and Lear, and Lear's child, who all have royal claims. And in his deposition with Yackle, the lion recounts his entire life story, while Yackle explains that she was born an old woman with no history, whose only purpose seemed to be acting as a quote-unquote guardian angel to the Throp sisters, for it was only the green elixir Nanny gave her that gave her powers. And before that, she was just a fraud.
4.
Coincidentally, the Time Dragon and its traveling brigand, including Nor, stop by the Monterey, where it is discovered that the Time Dragon is merely a diversion to protect the Grimmery, which Yackle is absorbed magically back into, with the cat, the lion's pet, who we discovered was actually the government informant that sold out Elphaba and Fiero all those years ago, leaving Nor and her group to move on and protect the book, while the lion decides which side of history he wants to be on, now that he has all of this information. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll saving
Yep.
that. Hopefully it came across. It's hard. All right. There we go. Good job.
Thank
Hopefully
you.
that helped
Thank
you guys out there that are kind of like, what? Okay. Or need a refresher, whatever. It was good.
I feel like it was to me at least, it was a pretty straightforward story.
I think that was why it was easier for me too.
Yeah.
Like there was time hopping, but it was just easier. I think that the lion is just a more simple character, so you don't get as much you get the thoughts presented to you, but it's not as cumbersome, I guess.
Yeah.
As Elphaba's inner monologue is very different. The lion's tone is very different. So
Yeah.
even Yackle's.
I feel like his story is telling you what happened in his life. It's like an autobiography as opposed to deep philosophical ponderings continuously.
Yeah, with flashbacks of people's perspectives and the constant switching. Because there is switching, but it's really just between Lion and Yackle.
Yeah.
For the most part.
And I mean,
so.
Yackle's life was also pretty easy to follow. It was a little bit confusing as far as was she born as an old woman? And if so, why? We had to obviously piece that together and find out the resolution to that at the end. But other than that, it was kind of this is my life. It was also very autobiographical. So I feel like it was pretty easy. Yeah. Step by step to kind of go through.
All right, Liz, what was your favorite and least favorite part of A Lion Among Men?
Favorite part, finding out Yakel was a fraud until she drank the green elixir. What a cool full circle moment I thought that was.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, we're listening to her story and she's like, I was just a lady who like literally showed up from nowhere. I didn't know where I came from. I was essentially born as an old person. And I just had to make a living. So I started being like, they wanted me to be the old crone and the witch and the, you know, sorceress. So that's what I pretended to be and people paid me money for it. Yeah. So great. And then she has Nanny come visit her to try to get this, you know, antidote to give to Melina so that, you know, Nessa Rose isn't born green. And she ends up drinking some of that green elixir. And that makes her an actual oracle or whatever you want to consider her to be, a magical person.
Yeah.
So I did love that. I also liked that we finally figured out where Noor has been this whole time. Even though I felt like she did not really have her heyday. So I'm hoping that out of Oz, we get a lot more of Noor's story because...
She sounds like a badass.
Yeah. She sounds super interesting. So, yeah.
I like that Yakel with the green elixir and everything, and then we find out with the Grimoire, it's like calls to like. That's what it feels like. You know, that vibe. Like it all magnetizes together. Yeah.
What was your favorite part?
That Yakel won't die. I loved it. I just thought it was so funny. The whole beginning sequence, I was literally laughing out loud because I'm like, because it was, again, such a different tone shift. Because there are some like comical moments throughout the other books, even as sarcastically or as ironically as they are. I do think that Gregory Maguire does have a fun sense of humor, you know, especially if I see him on the interviews and stuff. So I think we get more of that sense of humor in some things in A Lion Among Men, especially with Yakel's plight in her character. So I loved that she's just like, I just want to die. It's my time. I'm sick of this shit. And like, they will put the old ones down in like a cellar is what I'm imagining of the Monterey or wherever they are with like some wine and some candles and some, she even catches fire at one point and have to like put it out. And so they put her down there and she's like, okay, peace out, Girl Scout. Bye, cruel world. I'm leaving. Well, then she is in there for over a year because there's supposed to be about a year that they go and they open back up the crypt essentially. And then she freaks the girl out that comes to like check on something because she's still alive, but she's like even worse looking now and scary and terrifying. And then she drags herself to the top of the stairs and the lion happens to be there. Everything was so funny about that.
Yeah, no, it was funny.
Yeah.
And although I will say the tone for Yakel's character was very different in this book, and I thought that was kind of interesting because up until this point, she was very like secretive, cloak and dagger, one word spoken here and there, like a prophecy and then nothing else. And now she's just like freaking chatty Cathy like the whole time, which I thought was really fascinating.
Like, I didn't die. I just want to fucking just tell it all.
Yeah.
Just give it all away now. Who cares anymore?
We find out too that Cherrystone literally came to interrogate her and poked her eyes out. So that's why she's blind. So it's like maybe she's like, at this point, I don't care anymore. I'll just tell you.
And she sees that the lion isn't actually much of a threat. She gets him to tell a story pretty fast. So I think that maybe she sees some hope in him too.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, we find she's essentially a conduit for the Grimoire. So she's not entirely guided by her own free will. You know, so I think there's something going on there as well. I mean, we know. Well,
I mean, she gets literally sucked back into the book at the end. So you know, because we were wondering, like, was she really born as an old person, or did you know, like the lion said, like, did you have something happen to you, like a stroke, and you have amnesia and you don't know anything? And then for a while, she was even like, "Am I related to them?" Like. Yeah. And so it was kind of nice to get some resolution with that, where it's like, no, you literally are a magical being. You got sucked back into this book. Like, See, that's so funny because you're like, the cat is the twist. To me, I didn't even care about the cat. To me, Yakel was the twist. Yeah, I mean, but we always knew there was more going on with Yakel. Yeah, but like that essentially, like the book birthed her, basically, you know, created her in a way. Like that's crazier to me than just a spy cat. Okay, yeah, no, I mean, I definitely liked that twist too, but we'll just get into my least favorite part because we're talking about it right now. Yeah. I just put the stupid cat. I was so annoyed by this because I was like, I don't like that after all this time has gone by, essentially like the leader / martyr of the revolution, Elphaba, right, and her lover, Fiyero, both are, killed. At this point, 20 years ago or something like that, right? And we find out the mystery of how this went down, and it's literally just like a freaking undercover cat. Like her cat was like an undercover agent for the government. I hate that. I hated it. I was so mad. I was like, and he's still an undercover agent, but now he was posing as the lion's pet,
he kind of hops around to be an informant. Yeah,
and it's like, and they took him. Yackle was like, give me that cat, and sucked him into the grimory
took
with
care
her.
of the problem. Yeah.
So that's cool, but I was like, I don't like the political subterfuge that's been going on was literally just like this cat. I'm like, really? It disappointed me. I didn't like it. After all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a symbolism of surveillance, I would say.
Yeah.
Because they did always know, like, the government did always kind of know what was going on for the most part. And so they just didn't have, the cat wasn't in the right place anymore. So they didn't know what was going on anymore. So they had to, figure it out, send the lion in.
I mean, yeah. And I definitely thought about that too, because not only is it government surveillance, but it's government surveillance by the very people that were, or animals, whatever you want to call them, species that was being exterminated by the government. So that's also a
insidious. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it, but I didn't like it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, fair. Absolutely. For sure. But that's why to me, cause I didn't care about it. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And I moved on, but I loved your reaction last night.
I was so pissed. Yeah. Okay. So what was your least favorite part then?
I just felt like it got a little mundane in the middle, honestly. Cause he kind of, the lion kind of took over the conversation, as it will, and just kept talking about, and then this happened in my life that sucked. He had some shitty situations, some shitty bang bangs, but so it just got a little monotonous for how, and also the fact that this is the shortest book, I think, of the series minus Elfie, and I think you can agree with me that it just wouldn't end. So
yeah, it was weird. I think it was also messed up on Kindle too. So I feel like I would, it's like you said, I would read 50 pages and I would be no closer to finishing. I'd be like, what's going on?
Oh, I forgot. I did switch halfway through Kindle. So yeah, it feels, sometimes you don't realize it. You're on Kindle and it'll be page, 130 for 5 pages. So you'd be reading. Okay, how far am I now? 136? How did I read more than one page? What the hell? Yeah. So last night when I thought I had 50 more pages left, I had 5 pages. So it messed me up totally. So I'm like, okay, we still got a long way to go, but it's really discouraging. You're I'm not getting, it's like those dreams where you're running and you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, totally. I
know. That might contribute to it for sure. As it should be so much shorter too, because the way the spacing was in that the Kindle version as well, with the conversation,
all the dialogue, for sure.
And the paragraph breaks. So it felt like it took me the longest to read this one, which doesn't make any sense. So
yeah, same.
So that's one of my least favorite parts. Could be a Kindle problem because I was going through it pretty fast when it was a paperback. So I think it has to do with the e-reader.
Yeah.
But alas, who was your favorite character?
I put no one, really. If I had to choose one, I'd choose Noor. But she was very minor in this. But it's I just want to know more about Noor. Okay? Literally. I've been wanting that since she went missing. You know what I mean? And so, when I was reading critiques of this book, that was definitely one of them. That it's there's been a lot of build up to where is Noor? Literally, that's all book 2 was about, was Lear trying to find Noor. And we finally found her, and we got 5 minutes.
Of
stuff. And
I think that would have been hard, though, to have her enter the chat sooner because these are more flashbacks and more plot filling, Yeah. So I'm sure she's going to be a lot in the next book.
I hope that the next book is her book because, think about it. She's royalty. I think, it would be really interesting if the next book was basically about who comes to power because we have a bunch of players that do have rightful, what is the word I'm looking for? Claims to the different thrones, but they're all kind of like in the underground right now. So
Yeah. That's crazy.
yeah.
Wow.
What about you? Favorite character?
Oh, Yackle. Of the whole series so far. I love that she's sarcastic and snarky in this book, and it's just so funny. So, loved her.
Yeah.
It was great. I did also like, special shout out, I don't remember their names, but the two old animals that Burr finds in the woods or whatever. And, it's the very Mr. Frog and Mr. Toad vibes,
totally.
So I
Cute.
loved just reading their entire, the way they banter together, and it's just a cute relationship that they have. And then they brought in the lion, and then he goes and he helps them get some of their money back and stuff, even though he ends up, not good for him. I loved it. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good little side story.
Yeah.
Sure.
What about your least favorite character?
The lion.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like, we'll talk about this later on, but he represents a lot of different things, a lot of different people, a lot of different philosophies. So I feel like his character was very important, and it achieved what it was supposed to through his actions and symbolism. However, that did not make me like him anymore. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, it's just everybody sucks again, so it's hard to pick one who sucks the most. Yeah, because I actually liked the lion better somehow than Lear. But I just think it's because I give him grace because, he's an animal, how to figure out how to talk, how to converse.
Yeah.
So I did really like hearing his story from that perspective. I just thought it was interesting. So I don't want to give it to him for me. So everybody sucks. Everybody sucks. How about the... I'm curious about Alaric, but, at least he pulled him out and gave him an option. But what's going on there, I do have a lot of unanswered questions still with characters. Not even, I don't know, what's going on with Shell? What is up with that? Yeah, what's going to happen with
we still
Nor?
need to know more.
Where's Lear and the Green Child? How are they in hiding? I still don't like Candle, but I can't give it to her because she's not in this book.
I was gonna say she's not even in it. Yeah,
she's mentioned once
about her very briefly.
Yeah, what happened with that. But that was
Yeah.
weird that Yackle kind of orchestrated that situation. Mm-hmm. So yeah, is there a Green Child, like a reresurrection of Elphaba in a way, I
thought about that too. Is it is
a
she
Jesus
being
thing.
reincarnated?
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, totally.
But in symbolism, yeah.
Yeah. Is it that, or is it literally just a child? But either way, they would have a claim to different powers, even if she's not some type of special, being. Or whatever. Yeah.
Something I just thought was depressing that I want to say is that, we always joke about, because we're fantasy readers. I would love to live in this fantasy land, have magic and superpowers and stuff. For this realm of Oz that we are discussing, and their amount of magic that they have, and the corruption and the terribleness and the reflections on what is actually going on in our real life society, this is so the bootleg magic system in Fantasyland that we would get if we had it, if we had magic here. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. It would just be wielded for it would just be probably co-opted and wielded for nefarious purposes like everything else. I think that's kind of the point, right?
I was oh cool, we get animals that talk. Oh, they're being snuffed out. Oh, they're being restricted from access to things that we have. Oh, it's so cool like this. Oh, this sucks. Oh, it's, that's what I'm saying. It's
oh, there's dragons. Oh, they're being used as essentially slaves for the government to kill people. Cool.
This is what we would get. This is the place that we would be. So I don't want to wish for it anymore because we'd be in freaking Oz, and I don't like Oz anymore. That's a question. Do you like Oz still?
I mean, just has as many problems as we've got here. I think that's kind of the point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So with that said, how did this book make you feel?
I feel like this book maybe I think how did it make me feel? it made me feel a little bit more like I had to really think about the lion's character, because I feel like in the previous books, the themes were like pretty obvious and just like out in your face. In this book, I think a lot of what they were trying to say was through the lion's life and like the symbolism of like all the different stages of his life and how he was choosing to act with the information that he had. So I had to really like pick apart a lot of his actions to figure out the more political themes than like in the past where it was just like right in your face. So it made me feel like I had to dig a little bit deeper and kind of like decode a little bit more, but that didn't bother me. And obviously I think that all of that was intentionally done by Gregory Maguire as well. So yeah,
I appreciated it wasn't as repetitive in the overall book series. It didn't feel repetitive in that way because we had a tone shift and a perspective shifts. Obviously, we're still time hopping. We're still like, that's all the same, but it just felt so different. But yeah, exactly that. Like, that wasn't so in your face. You had to kind of think about his actions and what he was labeled as and his character and how he navigated the world and see the reflections on, that's what happens to people too, you know? Yeah. They're just kind of it's almost like he's just trying to survive, you know? And these are the ramifications of doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Going off of that, was this book what you expected it to be?
No, because it's different tone. Yeah, different pacing shift than the others, but like I said, I liked it. So, was it what you expected?
I mean, I expected it to be about the lion's life. So, in that way, yes. But then in the way, no, because I didn't expect it to reveal so much about Yackel's character.
Yeah.
That was like a side, like, ooh, cool. Okay, we got to finally find out like what's going on with this like oracle who has been present since the beginning with essentially no clarification or answers up until now. We're like, who is this lady? Why does she know so much? Like, what part is she playing in this overall scheme? And so that was a surprise, and I did like that. But other than that, I feel like it pretty much was what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I kind of expected it to be like A Lion Among Men. So I thought it was going to be more about taking down the man from the inside. But I actually kind of liked that Gregory really leaned into the cowardly aspect of the lion, you know, and how that can show up and how we'll talk about some stuff like this in a minute, but like how it was labeled and what happened when you're being labeled that. So I actually really liked that because, you know, like I felt like it was going to be like some secretive, well, he's labeled a cowardly, but then he's actually like doing all this stuff, you know, but no, he was cowardly lion, you know? So, and then what happens when you do that? So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, with
I have a
that
lot to say
said,
about him.
yeah. What are 3 philosophical questions that are examined in this book that you found interesting? You said you had a lot.
I did have a lot. I kind of had to like narrow it down a little bit. My first one was, how important is language in the creation of history? So we talked about this in previous ones too, but I felt like it was really important in this book in particular. One of the things that I noted was that depending on who you were asking or who was talking about it, some people were referring to the laws banning animals from essentially being part of human society in all the ways, right? Some people would refer to those laws as the animal adverse laws. Some people would refer to them as the animal courtesy acts. So it's things like that where it's like, obviously Gregory Maguire is doing that intentionally. That wouldn't be a mistake or an oversight. It's how something that starts off as the animal adverse laws, right? Which is like obviously has that very like inherent implication that we are against animals, capital A, assimilating into our society and having all the same rights as us. But if the politicians are calling it, or even, the news media, whoever, are calling it the animal courtesy acts, that puts a completely different spin on the exact same grouping of laws that are restricting animals from having rights. Yeah. So there's that. Also, there was humans intentionally baiting animals, capital A, with books in the forest that the bears talk about. Yeah, so reading for animals has been banned. So just to have a full circle moment with that. Yep. And so they're preventing that, dissemination of information, intentionally putting books in the forest so that animals will gravitate towards them and they can capture them.
Yeah.
Yes. And then lastly, just one more thing that I noticed, is that when the lion is kind of grappling with these ideas, he says, under a green bay tree, he stretched out thinking, if even the ghost of the past can harbor a motivation to disassemble, where can any ignorant lion sensibly place his trust? So it's this idea that like he's unlearning a lot right now as he's growing up. And so he's looking back and thinking like, nothing that I thought was true is true. So if I can't even trust history, then what can I trust? Mm-hmm. And so it's the same thing that all boils down to the question of how important is language in the creation of history. So that was a big one for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Heavy stuff, man. So
do you want to go back and forth?
Sure. Yeah. So for me, I had put, wicked, we are often discussing good versus evil and are people born wicked and everything like that. But I was thinking a lot about with the lion being labeled cowardly by everyone in society, what labels do to members of society and how it affects their actions. And how people can almost lean into it. Is it like a self-fulfilling
prophecy?
Yeah. Almost like you said with Yakel, too. Well, people are labeling me as this, so I'm just going to do that. It worked out for her, but is it working out for the lion? Really not so much, He's going about his life and making these decisions, and then, because he's labeled something negatively, it messes with him a lot. So, just the labeling of different groups and people in general. And individually.
He's trying to outsmart a system that's intentionally built to keep him down. Yeah. And I think it takes a while for him to even begin to understand that, right? He's doing the things, he's working within the system, he's rising up as much as he can, but yet he keeps on getting shoved back down repeatedly for a lot of different reasons. And so it kind of also brings up that idea of like, can we reform a broken system, or do we have to completely dismantle it and rework the entire thing for it to actually work for everyone, right? So it's the master's tools will not dismantle the master's house situation. At least that's how I read it, because that made sense to me. No matter how hard he tries, he'll never really be able to achieve the level that he wants to get at, because he's not a human.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I put, for my second one, is choice real or is it an illusion?
Oh, well, hey.
Yeah. And that became really apparent in the conversation that he was having with the two animals in the woods that you were talking about a little while ago. So the quote that I had pulled out was, we didn't have to leave, said Mr. Miko. I did teach history, young Sir Burr, and I know that much. We could quite as freely have chosen to go to prison, The option was never denied us, so we are considered to have departed of our own volition. Yeah. So they're able to say these animals are choosing to leave when really the options were leave or be thrown in a prison. Yeah, so how much choice really is that,
Yeah. And they're not leaving to be in some grand, beautiful, place. It's famine and drought.
Right. With no access to any of your previous resources that you have, because they took them away from you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly. That was my next thing. You just say it so much more eloquently. So.
But basically the same question. Yeah. Illusion of choice. How real is choice? Yeah. Okay, so then my next one is stupidity or ignorance just as dangerous as the opposite, which they in the book call cleverness? So yeah, this idea that what's more damaging, what's more dangerous, being like the lion and having to kind of be naive and work your way through a world not really knowing, because he's doing a fair amount of damage as well.
Yeah.
He's not just, failing personally, but
Yeah.
he's causing a lot of domino effects to happen that are damaging to other people too, and animals obviously as well. So yeah, is stupidity as dangerous as cleverness.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a quote in there, something like that. I didn't write it down though. Yeah. Deep thoughts. I think the topic, which I haven't gone too much over in my head, but just the factor of destiny and kind of free will, which I know is kind of like choice, but with the Grimory's involvement of what's going on, are they destined to overthrow this government that's happening? What's gonna go on with that? So those are kind of the questions that I came to when I was reading stuff more, because the Grimory is starting to take on sentient persona. Where is it from? Is it from this Earth? Is it from a different one or planet?
Yeah, I actually put a quote down here from Yackel's perspective. I just labeled it Yackel's philosophical crisis.
Yeah.
It says, the circularity of influence was like a trail of dominoes falling in 4 dimensions. Each time one slapped another and fell to the ground, from a different vantage point, it appeared knocked upright, ready to be slapped and fall again. Everything was not merely relative. It was, how to put it, relevant, representational, revealing, referential, and reverential both. So yeah, it's kind of that same idea, like what is influencing what. And I liked that imagery of the dominoes falling, but in 4 dimensions.
Yeah.
So it's just everything is affecting everything, but outward. It's the, it's
Butterfly
a
effect.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then of course, everything we've talked about in all of the other books so far, all the other themes are still present in this one as well. Like where you're born, who you're born to, family, royalty, lineage, how all those play effect in who you are as a person, nature versus nurture, all of those things are still at play, of course.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I did put an honorable mention in here that was, do things look more bleak as we age because we see and know more, or because things are actually worse? So, because he says everything now looked as seedy as he felt. He didn't know if this was the aging process, the retreat from, I don't know, it means innocence, but I don't know how to pronounce this word, or if the university was falling on hard times. So it's he's literally back in shiz looking at everything around him, and it's just the rose-colored glasses have been pulled off, and he's like, are things crappier, or am I just older and know more? Or is it both, Yeah.
Yeah. Things that we often ask ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what about political problems that you've seen brought in this book?
I feel like this one, a big theme was wealth disparity and privilege. And with a side note of disenfranchising entire populations until it's convenient to return them to the workforce for government gain.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Sorry. With freaking SNAP benefits being dismantled right now and health insurance going up, I'm kind of freaking out. I don't know if this is a great time to read these books, but hey, all important discussions. Hey, so I put famine and drought. So it's used as famine and drought, while sometimes just nature and unavoidable. How its roles play in land grabs and control of the people and the populace.
Well, yeah, and it's also that idea that, yes, natural disasters do happen, droughts happen, yeah, for sure, but that doesn't mean that we don't still have enough resources to distribute to all the people in the world that need them. It's the hoarding is the problem.
It's mentioned many times how Oz, the city, is living in luxury, high life, diverting water, Yeah. Same old. Yeah. And to go back to the point of, disenfranchising entire populations. So the quote was, let him be rehabilitated as a common citizen and join the animal workforce that loyal Oz hoped would soon be returning from exile.
Those who hadn't been exterminated, that is. Bring back the animals as a backup labor resource. Show the agitated mill workers they could be let go if they made trouble. So it's also like, again, that same idea that, I mean, just the way that he put it, like, bring back the animals to basically create this discord between the farmers and the animals again, so that they're infighting, but then they'll have more workers to produce more resources for the Emerald City or what have you. Yeah, it's like around and around we go. Yeah. That's how the lion ends up basically doing these like deals with the, like, he basically tells the animals, right, like, let's get you some of your money back. Like, I feel like everyone can win here. So the banks are taking, like, let's say you've got, 100% of the money that is due back to these animals. Well, he's taking a 15% cut as basically the middleman. The banks are taking, what was it? It was a crazy amount too.
Like, they were only getting 20% of their original
or
funds,
something like that.
Something
so,
crazy.
Yeah,
where they're like, oh, well, better than nothing. I'll take,
because
take
otherwise,
the crumbs.
They would just have nothing, literally. Like, they were stripped of all of their rights and had no money or investments anymore. So let's say the banks were taking 50%, the Lions taking 15%, right? They're getting the rest of it. They're happy to just get anything back. The Lion feels like he's doing the right thing, but then what ends up happening? This is working for everyone until the government finds out. And they say no more, and then they blame the lion.
Yeah, and you might be sending it to help, start a war.
Yeah, exactly. And you're helping, those that we don't want to get help.
Yeah.
And so it basically like empowering, they're in a civil war, so he's empowering the other side, quote unquote, right? He's being tried for treason. That's what, they're saying he's doing. But yet none of the banks that are making 50% off of all of these transactions are held accountable at all. So.
Yep.
Hello.
Well, that brings me to my next point. Corrupt banks and money systems, especially used to suppress certain populations. So you're talking about, their involvement of that and how they're not held accountable. And I am more focusing on this point about, that they're also involvement on taking the money and hoarding it, and taking it away from the animals and freezing their accounts and their responsibility with that too. So of course the government's not going to do anything because the government is the banks. The government is the money.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's even a quote here that he says, naturally, some of us get accused of treason for no reason. Others who deserve it waft free as a bubble on the breeze. Go figure.
Yeah. Let that sink in for a sec.
My second one is not to act is to act too, which is a quote, actually. Nor brings up this point, and I think this is kind of the only point of her character in this book, really. She says, I worked with the underground vigilantes who struggle against the tyrant on the throne of the Emerald City, our Emperor Apostle, until I learned that in the service of their honorable goal, they are capable of actions as dishonorable as the Emperor's. Then I gave myself up for lost. So she's basically like, yeah, I was working with the resistance, but they're doing a bunch of effed up stuff too. So now I'm just like a free agent floating along, protecting the Grimmery, just doing my best to survive kind of thing.
Yeah.
So not to act is to act too. I feel like, they're really kind of trying to debate. And I feel like we've talked about this in the past with Fiyero kind of having that same standpoint. Like, at what point is, the violence not worth it because you're doing the same wrong things that your, like, quote unquote oppressor is doing, right? And so Nor says, let's see. There is a fourth child at the base of the hill who can read the weather enough to know that lightning is likely. The child can rush forward to chase all of the others off the mound, and she risks being killed in the process. If that brave child is slain by lightning, it is sullen fate at work, but the other children's lives have been altered. History has been vexed by the intercession of a bit player. It is what we hope for and what we dread too, isn't it? So it's this idea that it's not just like people on either side, but there are other options as well, and other people doing other different things that can affect like the overall outcomes. And so it's her way of saying like we can't just have black and white thinking. I think. Yeah. what
well,
was
I'm
your next
depressed. Political espionage. Yep. Just that.
Just that.
Just that,
political
dude.
espionage. Okay.
Who can you trust, at that point, this fucking glass cat. It's even the glass cat. Like, can't trust no one. So that's hard. It feels like
Stupid cat.
you're working uphill, just as Nora is, You not working uphill, but like,
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
My last one were also quotes from Nor. She says, "The madder the battle, the saner the peace." So, but then she says, I don't know if that's quite right. She says, "The louder the cannon, the deafer the peacemakers."
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, so we need to unpack that. So she didn't know if this was true. She wrote to ask herself questions. Was there any reason that peace should ever be sane? Perhaps war was too mad an endeavor for the world to survive intact. Perhaps its aftermath was always corrupted.
Well.
So, and then it's kind of like a side tangent to that. Yakel responds with, "The smallest indivisible part of a nation worth defending is not a field, a lake, a city, an industry, but a child." So in this case, obviously we're talking about, Lear's child, right? Because we're thinking like, okay, is this child like a prophecy? Or we're talking about Elphaba when she was a child with this intervention from Yakel happening. But I think that she was really saying a lot there in regards to the smallest indivisible part of a nation worth defending is not, right, our like physical resources. It's not industries. It's not money. It's not any of those things, but it's children, because they're the ones who eventually will grow up and become part of that workforce or continue to perpetuate population growth or decline. That's why it's so important to control populations of people. At least that's what I got out of that. And I found that pretty interesting, but also like very symbolic too. Any last words on anything?
No, I'm just depressed. No, it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's all the things. It's all the things we've been discussing this whole series. So, hey, there we go. But yeah, I think all of these political actions that are so obvious, also we have to, lest us not forget the hope that these movements squash amongst the people and the animals in this case. Right? When you have this informant that is working on the inside and that you find out that has been an informant the whole time, that little bit of hope getting chipped away, that you can overthrow these powers that be, So the power of hope and the power of, what's the opposite of hope?
Despair?
Despair, the power of despair and how it's being used.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So that being said, what did you feel like was the role that the Lions character specifically played in this book? Because obviously, in my opinion, that was like greatly important to all of the themes. Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of like a poster child. You can work as hard, if not harder, than the next guy down the road, but you will never be one of us. You will never fit in. You will always be ostracized and you will be kicked out, literally. But so his reputation precedes him everywhere that he goes. And so he sometimes often doesn't go to certain places because he's worried that they're going to know about him. But at the end of the day, like, he's being used also by Oz to let him get built up a little bit. And then we're going to squash him. So again, that beacon of hope. And he's thinking, oh, maybe if I can do it, it'll be okay. I can pass by. And it's like, no, you cannot.
Yeah, it's like
do not pass go.
Yeah, it's like a pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But, that's like the myth of meritocracy, right? Is where we're getting at with that. Yeah, I had put, he hadn't yet had enough experience with humans to know that the thing they hold dearest to their hearts, the last thing they relinquish when all else is fading, is the consoling belief in the inferiority of others. So, hey. But on the flip side of that, I feel like it was also important to see the lion as a symbol of complicity, because he was
Yeah, that too.
complicit in a lot of the atrocities that were happening, because he saw himself as somehow special or different, and above that. And I feel like that was also important, even to the bitter end, where he's working as a government informant to get himself from, out of having to go to jail because of the connections that he previously had. Right? Like, that's it. So I feel like that is even a really important piece. It's like makes it more of a both and situation, is like him realizing these things as he's getting older as well.
Yeah. Because not only is he just trying to survive, but he's also just trying to better his own life, but not realizing that his actions are affecting everything that's happening. And that goes for everybody involved in this book and in life,
Well, yeah, I mean,
and he's I'm going to be one of these people at the balls. I'm going to be one of those people. So I have to have those same, principles as them, and fake it to make it. Fake it to make it.
Yeah, I mean, it even says here he had inadvertently advanced the wizard's plans in the emerald trade by helping to squelch the spontaneous labor revolt. But he still sees himself in a lot of ways as like innocent, like as a, wrong place, wrong time kind of a thing. And it says here too that he doesn't even really understand that he was receiving undue advantage after that, because they were giving him, by they, I mean, the higher ups or whatever, who were choosing to turn the other way when he was doing these other things in Oz or in Shiz, because of the fact that he did inadvertently help their cause by like what happened in Trom or whatever, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was that. I'm like, what else? Oh, there was also this idea that he says, how old am I now? I earned the right to a decent life. Right? Like this idea that like, can you earn your way to a decent life? Like, or does it have a lot to do with what you brought up before? Where are you born? What circumstances are you born into? Does it really have not much to do with anything else at the end of the day?
Yeah. Okay, well, with that said...
That said, wah.
Do you think that fictional fantasy books can be political?
Oh, yeah, like just based
with
on
this book?
Yeah,
just based on this book alone?
I mean,
I think so.
Yeah, that's pretty much
like
what it's getting at the whole time.
Yeah. If you want to hear more, listen to our first kickoff episode, Our Book's Political. Are you excited, though, for Out of Oz?
I am, because so far, in my opinion, Nora has been the most interesting character of this whole entire series, and I would like a book about her.
Yeah.
If book 4 is not about Nora, then I'm going to be mad.
Throwing it in the fire.
Yeah. But like, honestly,
it's pretty long.
Like, yeah, I would like to see more about Nora. I want to know what Lear has going on. Like, where's he at? I don't really care too much about.
More about Nor. Lear's lurking.
Yeah.
Greenie's greening. Yeah. Candle could get burnt for all I care.
Yeah. No one cares about Candle. She can go away. But we do want to know, obviously, more about the baby. So, who's now, probably like 10? Something like that. So,
yeah. Interesting.
I am excited to read the next one. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Now I am. Yep. This book made me more excited. So, because now I think we're getting maybe not as many flashbacks. Now we're getting the future, I feel. Like, what happens next? That's kind of what I've been waiting for. Like, we've been in this time frame of roughly 30 years, back and forth. But it's like, now what's happening after? Yeah. Like, let's get to some stuff, some resolution. Let's go.
We've set the scene.
We probably, knowing the way things are going, we will not have resolution. So I'm just going to make sure I understand that going into it, because that's life.
Yeah.
There's unanswered questions all the time. But maybe something different. Like, I'm done. I got this part. I got these 30 years down. I get it.
I think, are we going to get a happily ever after? No. However, we might get a lot of resolution. So
Yeah.
that's different, right? I think happily ever after and a resolution are two different things. So I think that we might get a significant amount of resolution, at least in regards to the characters. Probably not the political system, but who knows? Maybe Gregory Maguire will throw us a bone and give us some good news.
Yeah. Maybe he has it all figured out and
Maybe.
it's just a manual.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, all we had to do was read Out of Oz this whole time. Great.
Yeah, great.
Seems unlikely, but I am excited to read it. So, hey,
Yeah.
there's that.
All right. Well, you've blessed us with a lot of quotes. Is there any other quotes you would like to make sure to mention?
Let me look. Yeah, I tried to kind of like weave them in.
Yeah.
I think
It was beautiful.
Oh, there was a couple things I wanted to mention. I did like, and I don't have any quotes from this because I feel like it was just woven throughout the whole entire book, but there was a lot of cage imagery. Specifically having to do with the lion, because, you know, he would have like cage flashbacks to when he was a cub. He felt like, you know, he was somewhere. I can't remember where now, where he felt like he was put in a cage again. And so I thought that was really important. Just the symbolism of like, even when you're free, are you working within the constraints of some type of cage, right?
Yeah.
Most people, I think, would probably say that they are. The other thing was so they're in the middle of a civil war right now, right? We didn't see a ton of the war happening, but Munchkin Land is still its own sovereign state, or whatever you want to consider it to be. But right now, Oz is trying to re-annex it. So they're having a civil war. So at one point, they describe the noise as men roaring like beasts. And I was like, that's really symbolic too, when the whole point of this, right, is to dehumanize animals, to take away their rights. But then at the end of the day, it's the human men that are causing war and fighting like beasts. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that was pretty
And you really see that
strong
with,
symbolism.
now that you mention it, we haven't talked about it yet, how all the animals are living together in harmony for the most part.
Or if they have interpersonal or like clan issues, they're like working it out. It's not causing like this insane, like they're not having civil wars all over the place.
Yeah, like the birds in the last book. They're all different types of birds. I mean, they are separating themselves from the animals lowercase, you know, but the one animals uppercase, they're all working together no matter what, you know, species of bird it is. So, and then they're wary, you know, and they're cautious. Some of the, like, you know, tribes that he comes across, they want to make sure that he's safe. But, you know, it's like you know, so you see that, you see how humans are not very humane.
Yeah, exactly. Who are the real quote unquote animals. If it's used as a derogatory term here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So do you have any other notable quotes?
Oh, I loved this one. Okay. I don't put much faith in a magic book. For everything that is revealed, more is concealed.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So they're referencing the Grimoire and, you know, how what that can represent in this world is just like we need to wait for the magic man or the magic book or the magic being to come and save us all. So we don't really need to worry about all these things. It's fine, you know, instead of acting in the here and now. So
yeah, what is
something
it?
to
Doing
think
nothing
about.
is still doing something.
Yep. Because you're just waiting. Or even the Cowardly Lion in his instance. Like, well, it's not his problem, you know. It's not, he can't change all these things. Or so many characters that we discuss. Because what power do they have? And it's like, well, it's thoughts like that. It's actions or lack thereof, actions like that, that keep the powers that be in place. You know, the future reshapes the memory of the past in a way it recalibrates significance. Some episodes are advanced, others lose purchase. That's why it can be a heavy book at times, because it's just like, whoa, man, dude.
Yeah, he's saying a lot all the time. He doesn't turn it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we're saying at the beginning, like, you know, if you could take your time with these books, it would be better for your mental health. Maybe.
And being
or at
able
least
to just
gives you
digest
time.
everything.
Yeah, digest everything. Sit back and think about it.
Yeah,
I have a
ponder.
funny one when you're ready, when you're
Okay,
done with
yeah.
your heavy ones. We'll leave on
Oh,
a good
I'm done.
note.
I think I
Okay,
pretty
great.
much like wove them all in. So yeah, go
Yeah.
for it.
From my favorite Yackle, waking up was a daily cruelty, an affront, and she avoided it just by not sleeping then.
Yeah, I like that too, where she was like, I just won't sleep. It's fine.
Yeah, because every
can't
time I
die
wake up,
anyway.
it's worse. Yeah. Here I am still dealing with this. Yeah. Okay.
So-
Well, hey.
Would you say positive or negative contribution in the canon? I think positive for sure. Very thought provoking.
Yeah, positive, even if it is a bummer. Yeah.
It's a bummer. Yeah, I mean, hey.
Yeah, hey.
Unfortunately, that's how we critique things.
Yeah.
And did you look up any critiques about book 3? I looked up a few actually this time. Or did you
Yeah.
have any of your own critiques from book 3?
Just a little bit of mundaneness in there, but it is what it is. I saw a lot of people just straight up not like this book and a lot of DNFs. 3.35 overall stars on Goodreads for
Out of
almost
32,000.
Yeah, that's one of the worst overall stars we've heard. I gotta say, especially
From,
for
not a
a
cringy
novel.
read or-
yeah,
yeah,
not a cringy
totally.
read. Most cringies are over that though, because it's like what you're signing up for, right? I wrote down a couple of 1 stars. And some people said some parts made sense, so they felt like it didn't make a lot of sense. I disagree, but that's all right. This felt like when you're trying to get an essay word count up, just repeats mostly the same things read in the first and second book. So I think we could
little
kind of agree
repetitive.
with that one. Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And then someone said, I have to be honest, I had to slog through about half of this book and then gave it up. So, yeah, there was a lot of critiques on the monotony and the repetitiveness, I would say. What did you find?
Yeah, same thing. People seem to be generally happy that it did fill in some blanks and give some answers. However, still left a lot of things unanswered. And I did find a lot of people who are upset that Nor didn't get more of a storyline, just like I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, disappointing. It was hard to get to the end of Son of a Witch and have that storyline with Lear completely just like cut off and then basically find out nothing in this book about what's going on with him or
people
the baby.
hate that in
Yeah.
general. Like, any series that do that where they skip to somebody else while it's kind
Yeah.
of it's pretty cliffhangery with the green child. Yeah.
And then it just you find nothing out about that in this book. None.
Yeah.
So
and
I
like
think
I
that
was
people can really
saying,
struggle
it
with that.
seems like the people were under the illusion that this was the last book. So imagine, because some reviews are from back
that
then.
too.
You
for
this
sure.
is it. Okay, well, what the hell did I read all that for? So I get that. So those reviews might change once the series added Out of Oz.
Concluded. Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
we'll be the judge of that next week.
Yeah.
Because maybe not. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does. We'll find
I'm
out.
curious. I'm genuinely curious to see what he chooses to wrap up and what he chooses to keep open-ended.
Yeah, because I know he did say, that he purposely leaves some loose ends, but that end is too loose. You better snip that, tighten it up, do something with that. Don't, too much. Like, too much.
Well, I feel like there's a big difference between not solving the world's problems and wrapping up character storylines. Like, those are two very different things.
Yeah.
So I would like to see the character storylines be resolved, at least mostly, even if you're not resolving, all of these political problems.
Yeah, for sure.
That wouldn't be realistic, I don't think.
Yeah,
But
because I think the point is to spark, the whole point of the series is to spark individual thought, on what is happening in our real world and the fact that we don't have all the answers. And
I feel like
what
the
to
best
do.
way to describe this book would be like if you had just finished Empire of Storms and then you get Tower of Dawn.
Yeah.
I think, I love Tower of Dawn. Obviously, we did the tandem read, so that I think is a little bit different too. But I feel like a lot of people might feel that way, where you get to this insane cliffhanger where you find out there's this green baby. Is it reincarnated Elphaba? Is it just like a child? Like, what's going on here? Does it have powers? Like, we don't know anything. And then you get this whole other story that has nothing to do with that at all. And you have to wait, 8 more years or something crazy to get out of Oz.
Yeah.
And yeah, like,
Or
I think that it
Kingdom
might
of
be that.
Ash. Like, imagine
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
know if Kingdom of Ash is even coming out. You're like, wait, what
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's like that is probably how this felt to a lot
Yeah.
of people. I
Yeah.
mean, we have all the books out, so we don't really have to worry about that because we can
It's
just
different
go right into the
reactions.
next one. Yeah.
Different reactions, different reviews, for sure. And that's why we say when we're doing these bonus series where we're reading back to back, sometimes our reviews on previous books do change once we have all the information, you know?
Sure.
So, are you ready for a fun fact?
I am.
Great. The name Elphaba. What the heck, right? What name is that? Where does it come from? Where did it go? Cotton Eye Joe. It's actually a nod to L. Frank Baum. So I was watching a interview. Gregory Maguire does a lot of interviews. So if you want to hear more, he's out there talking.
Yeah.
You can hear him. Funny guy. So he was, trying to work with this name for a while and try to piece different ways to put it together to like give a nod to that main character, but still keep that, but still make it different, whatever. So he goes through, it's funny because he talks about a lot of different options, but then one day it came from L as in L Frank, right? Fa as in fa rank, and then bomb as ba. So
Yeah.
L fa ba.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
there you go.
perfect. I mean, it works great.
Now it makes like total sense, which I
Yeah.
liked the closure that I had for that because it was I learned that name last year,
Yeah.
I was like, it took me a while for it to stick. I think I was actually rewatching our Wicked episode from last year because it's vibes, and seeing what we said back then compared to now that I have so much more information. But I kept saying Elphaba, so apologies.
Okay.
You
I
know?
mean, I think
Hey.
all of us can relate to
Yeah.
that. It's like if you're a reader, especially of fantasy, it's like we're pronouncing most things wrong. We have no idea how
Yeah.
to say them. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey.
No judgment here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think, do you have any more things left to say about A Lion Among Men before we move on to Out of Oz?
That's it.
That's it.
I'm ready to
Same.
move out of Oz, so let's get this over with. No, not really. I'm just kidding. I'm so ready for the movie and everything, and I do have a lot to say about all that. So, guys,
Yeah.
stay tuned, stick around, like, follow, and subscribe everywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcasts, including YouTube. That way you don't miss out on the notifications when those videos go up. We can plan on every Friday until we're done. Then our normal Tuesday episodes, if you're done with Wicked and you just want to watch our regular ones, no worries. We still got your Tuesday episodes for you. But you guys, we'll see you next Tuesday,
Tuesday
and Friday.
Friday.
Bye.
Bye.